Hello and welcome once again to the How Long to Beat podcast. As always, I'm Rick, joined by Alex.
Hello.
And Paula.
Hello.
We've got like the whole gamut of weather conditions at the moment. Paula's in sweltering heat. Alex is in allegedly minus 40 degree cold.
You can check it.
I mean, here in Blighty, it was like -2 or -3 for a little while there. And we were all acting like it was literally the Ice Age and the end of the planet. And now it's like back up to sort of 10 degrees and rain. And we're all like, grumble, grumble.
I know.
But like the happy grumble.
Yeah, we're lucky. Like technically the official temperature is -30, but we have wind chill here that's so intense that it feels like -40. So you walk outside and it's just like, it's horrifying. My beard literally freezes while I'm outside, and there's nothing. It's just the natural moisture in the beard just like starts to icicle, and I can feel it harden on my face because it bends with me. Not when I'm outside in -40 weather.
Gosh. Well, you know we're going to lead in with the games that we've beaten, retired, and been playing. By which I mean the games that I've beaten, the games that Alex has retired, and then the games we've all been playing. Including How Long to Beat the Game, Citizen Sleeper. And then this week, our topic, for the third time since we've been doing this podcast, is like a review of what our goals for the year in gaming were, how well or how badly we've managed to stick to those, and what we're going to aim for next year.
Yeah.
And then we should have time to finish out with another round in the latest version of the new format of
How long to beat the game?
Right, shall I just jump in?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Please do.
3 little games, and it's been a bit of a weird one because December's a fucking busy month. So
yes, it is.
These were all completed like right at the start of the time, and then it's just been like little bits of plugging away at all my other sort of currently playing. So 3 relatively short completions. The first one, which if memory serves, I was more or less right at the back end of when we last recorded, Dynamite Headdy. Pretty good. What I liked about it is it had that sort of Rayman feel of like this wacky, slightly surreal world. This character, obviously, where not all the limbs are properly attached. But it does a few interesting things with the fact that your head sort of flies off in different directions. Very mild spoiler. One boss that was particularly fun had the boss targeting your head, and the way to avoid 1 or 2 of the attacks was to fire your head upwards into the air so that when the boss aimed at it, your head would revert back down to where your body was and you would be out of harm's way. And there are lots of little clever touches like that in various aspects of the game design that really elevate it. I have to say, use save states a lot. It's not a very forgiving game, but it's also not incredibly long, and for the couple of hours that I spent with it, I had a really good time. It's been really, really fun going through all of these treasure sort of back catalogue games one by one. I'm just double checking which one's next up on the list. It's either Alien Soldier or Light Crusader. I think they're the other 2 Genesis games. Something like that. Anyway, my spreadsheet's not playing nice and loading, but that's what we're looking at. Second of the 3 games I completed, and this is one that I rushed to get on before it left Game Pass. This is Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. It's really good, actually. It's one that
cool.
Friend of the podcast, Tiamat, had actually sort of played and sort of recommended as a Metroidvania, and it is pretty good. Worth saying, the story is both predictable and utterly superfluous unless you are already invested in the Lodoss War universe, let's say. I think there's an anime. I know there's a couple of TurboGrafx 16 RPGs. I played this for its gameplay and its combat in and of itself. The thing it does to differentiate itself, it has like an Ikaruga style 2-color mechanic. When you have 1 color equipped, you absorb attacks of that color, and hitting enemies with 1 color powers up the other. And it's the kind of thing where you want to sort of hold on to all the power, and if you get hit, you lose some of it. I'm doing a pretty poor job of explaining it, but it's well integrated into the gameplay itself. Definite sort of wearing its heart on its sleeve, sort of Symphony of the Night inspiration situation. And that's by no means a bad thing, because Symphony of the Night is a classic for a reason. This one probably feels a little bit on the linear side, which, for some people's a plus for Metroidvania, some people's a minus. I don't necessarily fall into either camp particularly. The combat feels really, really good overall. And the game is very, very short overall. From memory, I think I was playing sort of for 4 to 5 hours. And it was definitely good value for that time. 5 hours 45 is my main story time. And that was mostly just sort of following the critical path, taking the odd diversion, but not particularly giving them too much thought. When it was on Game Pass, easy recommend. I think this is absolutely one to pick up as a sale Metroidvania. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I think it's on the cusp of being a Metroidvania 8 that can still be one you recommend, because the color mechanic, in my view, is enough to differentiate it. The pixel art is incredible. The music's quite good to go with it, and the combat absolutely holds its own. So when you put the whole package together, it's a great time overall. One other thing it does that's unique, but maybe a little bit underbaked, you have like a free aim bow and arrow that uses MP, and it's mostly used for traversal and unlocking doors. There is the odd enemy that it's useful in the odd situation that's useful, but generally in combat you will just be using your melee weapons. So yeah, pretty good, reasonably strong recommendation from mine. Have either of you two played this one? I don't know that you have, Alex, but I've got a gut feeling that you might have done. No?
No, I saw it and was like, I'm good. It like just for the type game at the time, but if it's ever back on Game Pass, so many of these small games just like seem to rotate through the service. I might try it again, but
yeah, and it's one where like you're not necessarily missing anything not going for it.
Yeah,
but it is good if you do find it sort of coming up in your rotation. And you said no as well, Paula.
I said no. Actually, I haven't even care about the game, so.
I mean, it's a niche within a niche, right? Like the record of Lodoss War anime isn't something I'd heard of before the game. And I don't know that it's even still ongoing, but it's not a big franchise. I think that's fair to say. But the game's good. And finally,
you buried the goddamn
game.
Lee on this one.
I did. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. The title of the last game I played is called He Fucked the Girl Out of Me. This is an itch.io game, which has a playable sort of Game Boy ROM. That's how I played it. I played it on a Game Boy Advance through the flash cart. It's a pretty heavy game, so if that's not what you're about, feel free to jump to Alex's retirement in the timestamps. This is kind of a kinetic novel with a couple of interactive segments. If we were so inclined, there's absolutely an is this a game argument, but I think putting that to one side, it is a fascinating biographical tale of an individual coming to terms with their trans identity while also being a sex worker, and their personal experiences of that situation. It's so outside anything that I could sort of have any personal concept of understanding, and I think that's what made it so fascinating to experience. I didn't feel it was appropriate to give it a rating because it didn't feel like that kind of an experience. I wouldn't necessarily say I enjoyed it. I wouldn't necessarily say I didn't enjoy it. I would say that I felt it was very worthwhile to experience. It's not massively long. It's maybe 20, 25 minutes. I played it over the course of a single train journey. And the writing is very engaging. You can tell that the author is really sharing a lot in the story that they tell. And they're very upfront about it. They're very upfront about a lot of components to it. And without spoiling anything, because I do think this is truly something that's worth experiencing. There are a couple of real gut punches in the story that's told. I think you both, how to phrase this, I think you would both appreciate the experience that this is. I think you would both take a lot from the narrative. I think it's the kind of thing you would both engage with. And I think for a lot of our community, people who are open to trying out this sort of nuanced, a bit different, not mainstream thing, it's a story that deserves to be heard, and it's a very interesting playthrough.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the site there, and the art style is very like I'm amazed it's Game Boy Color stuff. I'm like, oh damn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this out. Actually, like looking at it, I was like, this sounds interesting. You sold me for sure on this. So the title definitely it hits you at first, but then like once you go to the page, I was like, oh, I see.
And it is sort of it has shock value, but it is also very much
part of the narrative, kind of.
Yeah, part of the story. It fits the story that's being told. It's not just like a clickbait sort of thing. And it's worth saying this is a game that was written about on Destructoid. That's how I came across it.
Oh, okay. I was like, how did you find out about this?
And I will put the link in the show notes. If you don't necessarily want to play the game, and I get that, given everything that we said around it, I think the article is still well worth a read.
Yeah.
And if you're on the fence, read the article. It probably is a little bit more eloquently talks about the ins and outs and surroundings of the game. And if you want to try at that point, there's a link in the article to do so.
Play this
I think yes, absolutely. And it pops on original hardware. Like the art is really well realized. I think in a lot of respects it complements the tale as well. And there's something surreal about the story that's being told through the sort of low poly Game Boy thing. I think it does elevate the narrative.
Yeah, I like that. That's such an interesting way to do your narrative. Like, well, anyway, that's great. I love it. Game Boy anything, I'm like sold immediately.
I mean, there's definitely like a bigger discussion to be had, but I feel like one that requires we've all played it and given the audience ample opportunity to do so. Maybe one for the future. Anyway,
because I'll definitely check this out. So at least next time. Next time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So speaking of things you checked out, Alex, that's all of my completions. But you've got 2 retirements. The first of which I must say was pretty expected. The second, quite unexpected on my part.
Yeah, well, the second one I'll start there. Return to Monkey Island. I started playing Citizen Sleeper. I can't play 2 PC games at once.
Not with that attitude.
So it just kind of vanished. This is again one of those ones where I'm like, I'll be back. But I stopped at a place that's very natural because it's literally just kind of like right after the tutorial when the sort of games just starts. And let's be honest, you don't really need the tutorial that much. They kind of let you skip through it because it's a point and click adventure game. So I'm at a good spot to just come back and start playing again. The first one is one that was very obvious. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I started playing Halo Infinite, so I just stopped playing Tiny Tina. I was like, well, I have another shooter to play. It's literally what it was. Like, I was just like, I'm done. Like I said with this one, it's not a bad game at all. Probably an absolute blast in co-op. But it's very much like the Borderland games. They don't get different as you play. They stay exactly the same because your power creeps up and you simply get guns that maybe do something slightly different as you're playing through. So that's what changes. But the enemies are all basically exactly the same. They might have slight different ways that they attack you, but not much, It's just come in, shoot, find a few quests, go shoot, etc. So you get burnt on that pretty fast. It's very well refined and it's well made. It's just that you're kind of like, okay, I get it. And so I had my fill, which is exactly what I expected for this game. And so it lived up to that expectation. I was like, I'll play it probably for a bit and then get burnt on it. Which is the same thing that happened with Borderlands 3. I think that whole series needs a complete rethink at this point.
Yeah, but is Gearbox the right team to do it? I mean, 2
No.
DLC season passes, the second of which was like what most people are giving away for free in a battle royale mode.
Exactly.
You do
They
have to
won't.
question a lot of the things around it. No.
I think in general, they're just going to keep pumping them out because I think they're successful enough.
Yeah.
So I think, and they're trying to, make like, they're making a movie or something. So like, I think they're
Are
going to
they?
double down. Yeah, there's a movie being made. It's either a
Okay.
movie or a TV series, but it's one or the other. I think it's a movie though. So they're really trying to double down on like making themselves, these big media properties. So I assume we're going to be unfortunately inundated with a lot of a lot of this shit
Mhm.
for the next while, and it's just like, okay, I love Borderlands, don't get me wrong. I think the world they made is excellent, but it's like the only thing they've ever experimented with was like Tales from the Borderlands, which wasn't even their experimentation, and then when they got it back they kind of cocked it up. So it's like, okay, I guess. I mean, maybe the issue is if they did try to experiment, I don't know if they could do it. So
Nope.
I don't think they have the management or the like there's too much studio pressure to let them do anything that's like off. But I mean, this is just someone talking completely from the sidelines, so who fucking knows. But yeah, easy to shit talk from here. Anyway, those are all the retirements. Why don't we move on to the playing? Paula, why don't you tell us what you play? You playing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, finally kind of free from university for the time being, and I've been trying to catch up with some games that I kind of like started a while ago, or some that just released on Game Pass more on that later. Playing with my nephew and stuff like that. So first of all, Guardian Tales, I'm kind of falling out of it. Mainly because I've been doing like all the daily stuff and it gotten kind of repetitive, and I think I've been like, I haven't logged in like in 2 or 3 days, so
It's
like at
loosening
that
its
point
grip.
I'm just
Mm.
it is losing its grip exactly, and I haven't like quite properly experienced like the story past certain chapters, so I don't know. I'm not interested enough to go back to the story, and the daily stuff has gotten kind of repetitive and boring to me. So I might be retiring this one very soon, unless I go to the store and it's like, oh, this is quite fun, and I go back to it. But it doesn't really have much. I want to say it doesn't have much substance, but I don't think that's it. It's more like the gameplay is kind of like so superficial when you're playing the story, because you just smash the virtual buttons on your screen and you somehow get to the end of the level, and the story is like serviceable enough to get you through the game, but it's not fun enough to keep me coming back. So
Yeah.
I think this one is a goner soon, or will be a goner soon. Another game that won't be a goner soon is Pokemon White, because I don't think I made much progress this week, but I am quite interested in seeing the story through. As I previously stated, this one is like one of the more interesting stories told in a Pokemon game. Which I know the bar isn't like really high, but they kind of like play with some concepts that is like, wait, we never questioned this. How will we do it now? So it kind of like, it is more interesting like than other games. The fact that I'm making like the randomizer thing makes it more fun, and I'm not obligated to use the quote unquote new Pokemon at that time, because we don't have like a proper like on the story. You only have access to Unova Pokemon, but if you're using a randomizer, you have access to any Pokemon that RNG throws at you. And I'm not a big fan of the black and white Pokemon. That's what I'm reader. I'm not a big fan of the Pokemon introduced on Unova. So, like that is like the barrier always. Like I like certain Pokemon designs of others, and one problem that both black and white and Scarlet and Violet has is that I think is one of the weaker regions design-wise.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and I know like the first generation of Pokemon don't have like the most imaginative designs, like just a bird or just a Pokeball turn into a Pokemon or something like that. But like it has nostalgia going for them. So for that part, like okay, they were cool when they came out. People like me are nostalgic about them, so we keep using them. But other generations like Black and White and Scarlet and Violet don't have that going for them. So weaker designs means Paula is not happy. Anyway, back to the playings. Another game that I'm playing quite a lot is Guitar Hero World Tour. And we managed to sync the microphone with the game. So I am pretty much the vocalist. My boyfriend is guitarist, guitar player, whatever. And we've been playing through some Green Day songs because you can mod the game to have the songs from other Rock Band or Guitar Hero games. So we did that. And it has been a lot of fun. Though I have to say, one of the songs that I was kind of like disappointed in how they, I guess, map it or chart it is Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen. Because I do remember playing like one version of that song and having a problem with it. But since it has like a lot of voices, it means that the game designers have to choose one of the voices to put in the chart, and they kind of like pick all the wrong ones or like try to mix and match them, and that went horribly bad. So that wasn't fun to try to sing along to. But overall, it has been a lot of fun when you're not trying to sing all voices at the same time of Bohemian Rhapsody. It can be a lot of fun. Another game that I've been kind of like slowly making progress through is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And I'm still at the second palace. I just moved a little bit, got the item of the palace, which I forgot which was, because that was like at the start of the week. And okay, so another game that I've been playing is Terraria, and this is because my nephew was starting to play Terraria, and he was like, "Hey, you want to play?" And the only version that I had at the time was the PC version. So lucky for me, Terraria was on sale, like 50% off on the Nintendo eShop. So I was able to buy it at a not so steep price and play with my nephew over the online thingy in Terraria. And I have to say, since I haven't been able to play like a lot lately because, well, university is a thing, he pretty much went his way and got like all the cool equipment. And then I came back and there was like a village where there was only a house before, and suddenly my sister was playing too, and we have like a whole community on that little village. And I was like, hey, what were you doing like when I was away? Oh, we discovered the city in the sky or something like that. I'm like, I didn't even know there was like a city in the clouds on Terraria. I know, but I can't even get there because I don't have the equipment to get there. So I have to probably quickly catch up or just play builder and just continue building the village and my little house that I have. Which, by the way, I'm building a house in Terraria and I'm trying to have like one room of each material. And it is nothing fancy. It's just like a rectangle and with some furniture, and I call that a room. This pile of rooms is my house. And yeah, that checks, I think. And yeah, I just been building stuff in Terraria, exploring the world, trying to get to anywhere my nephew hasn't been yet, so I can loot whatever chest has been left untouched, which is quite difficult because he has explored like every nook and cranny of that world. But still, I've been having a lot of fun. For some reason, each time I check into Terraria, there's a blood moon, or red moon. I don't know how they're called here. So the first, 10 minutes of each gaming session on Terraria is just trying to survive and fighting for my life. That aside, it has been a lot of fun. A nice chance to talk with my nephew and with my sister, which we don't get to talk too much like during the year because university. So it has been nice. Another game that I've been playing because of my nephew is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because he called me one day and he said, "Hey, can we do a Zelda bingo?" And it's like, okay, let me generate the thing. These are our 25 missions, and he literally just did one of the missions, and then he invited me to play Terraria, and we haven't played since. So I don't know if that bingo is still ongoing. I still have the tab open on my browser just in case. But something tells me he completely forgot we were doing that bingo. The last two
I just
games.
love that you're blaming your nephew on you playing Breath of the Wild, like you weren't going to do that anyway.
What?
I was just saying, I love that you blaming your nephew on why you're playing Breath of the Wild, as though you wouldn't have just played it irrespective.
She's like, shut up.
Well, yeah,
don't at me like that.
Don't at me like that. I'm gonna still be playing my main save file on Breath of the Wild, but after a little something that I'll talk about later. And that aside, thank you for asking like that. But that aside, we have two newer games that have been added to one has been added to Game Pass kind of recently, the other one not so recently. But the one I was very looking forward to, and I actually have on my Steam wishlist and have to quickly take out of it because it is on Game Pass, is Potion Craft Alchemy Simulator. This game finally got like a full release, and I'm so happy because I've been waiting for it for ages. Like ever since I played it on the Steam Next Fest, when I don't know, there has been many Steam Next Fest or Steam Game Fest. But this game is about you being an alchemist, moving into a little village, and you found a house, and then you start making potions to make a living. But also there's like a second thing, like I guess like a proper, I don't know if it's like a proper storyline, but like proper missions that you have to accomplish. You have a diary where you have like all the missions for each chapter that you are gonna complete, like making a certain potion, purchasing like expansion to the alchemy machine, or just using the alchemy machine to make a certain thing and stuff like that. or having like a certain reputation or popularity on your job. So as the game goes on and the days go on, you start like your store gets more popular and you get different kinds of clients. They initially just ask for simple things like something to place on the rats or like a health potion because they're sick and they need a health potion to recover. And then you start getting attention from the adventurers and they want potions to get stronger, faster, more dexterous. And you have to expand like your potion repertoire and try to keep an inventory of ingredients so you can create those potions so you can sell to people so you eventually are able to get more ingredients to explore this little map. The way you make potions here is very interesting because you have a map. Imagine you have a map on your wall, and each time you get an ingredient on that potion or on that cauldron, you get like a little pathway on your map. And each ingredient will make a different path. And if you steer the bot, then your little icon of, hey, you're here in the map, will start walking that road. And you can grind your ingredients to make your ingredients more potent, and that way you can get farther in the map with a single ingredient. It's kind of complicated. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, or if at all.
It sounds a lot like Strange Horticulture.
Not quite, because in Strange Horticulture you have to go to different locations on the map and collect the ingredients or like the plants, and then you have your plants. In this case, you get the ingredients either from your little garden or from sellers. And in this case, you don't like physically go to anywhere in the map. It's like you're making a potion, you're making like a path with ingredients to get to the potion. Like the way you see like if you're mixing well or not your potion is like it depends on where the little plus icon in your map is going. And in a way you can make potions with very basic ingredients and just get like let's say a level 1 health potion. But if you line up the fast icon with the markings on the map very well, you can get a level 2 or a level 3 potion. And it also depends on what base you're using, because you can use a water base for your potions and you get one kind of map, or you can use an oil base and you get a very different map with different obstacles to clear or different kind of terrains. Let's say, and your ingredients, you have 4 types of 4 main categories of ingredients that are the fire ones, or the fire elemental lines, that are the ones that will make your icon go to the left. The water ones will make the icon go to the right. The air ones will go the icon go up, and the earth ones will make the icon go south. And that way you will use different kind of ingredients, some that are kind of like dual elements that will let you go in diagonal, or that are not quite classified as just one type of like one type of element per ingredient. Now that I say it, like the gameplay, when you play it, it looks quite simple, but when you have to explain it, it is actually quite complicated.
You got to be there kind
So-
of game.
Yeah, kind of. But
It sounds fun. It's been
it
on my
is a lot
radar
of-
for a while.
Play it. It is on Game Pass.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was
go,
like, okay.
go get it. Yeah.
I'll be real. I had to look at which one of the potion games it was that came out like in the last couple of months because well, they, literally in 3 months of each other, there's potion craft, potion permit, and potionomics. Potion Tycoon is due out next year. Just all the potion games all at once, out of nowhere. I have to say Potionomics is the one I'm most interested in, but that's just because that's the one I played the demo of. I feel like Game Pass is the perfect place for this kind of game because it does sound very particular about what it wants from you.
Yeah.
And I think those are the games
Yeah.
where having sort of an inbuilt audience and being able to just sort of go in free of expectations or cost is massive. Yeah.
Yeah, I already put like 7 hours on this game, I think.
Mhm.
Only in 1 week or like in a couple of days because it has a script like on me because it is so addictive. Like the way you have to explore the map, like physically explore the map with your ingredients. It's fascinating because you have to sort all kinds of obstacles. You even have like ingredients that let you like teleport from one part of the map to another. And let's say don't fall into a whirlpool while you're trying to get to the invisibility potion or something like that. And the other thing is that you have to be aware that your reputation will fall if you don't sell a potion to a client, or your reputation can fall if your client has bad intentions at the time they ask you for the potion. Because let's say that there's a witch that wants to eliminate someone with poison, and you'd rather not be involved on someone being unassisted or like killed or go poof, not alive, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that if you sell that potion, your reputation goes down because you did something like not morally right. And if you reject that client in particular, your reputation goes up. I haven't had a lot of those clients, to be fair, like only 1 or 2.
I think that's why I said this seems like strange horticulture, because that's a lot of like the the whole thing with strange horticulture. It's like who you're picking and who you give things to, like depends and stuff. Yeah, I feel like there's this genre of game that's coming out now.
Yeah,
that is this genre, and it's great.
making
I love it.
potions, making potions and taking care of your alignment.
Yeah, it's like, what do you call it? It's like the like for every kid who played a video game, it was like, why can't I run the store? It's that game for them.
Yeah.
Like Moonlighter and all that shit. It's just it's fun though.
It's quite fun. Oh, and one last thing about the game. I'm sorry because this game has taken over my life, and I have to
Clearly.
tell you every single little thing about it. And you don't only make potions, but for the clients, but you have to make potions to make other items on your alchemy machine. When you start the game, you have a broken machine and you have to repair it. Once you get the parts from the vendor that gives you like magic stuff, then you are able to make things like void salt, and I forgot the name of the other thing, an albedo. And those are crystals that you use as ingredients for other crystals. And what I suspect is that you eventually are able to make the Philosopher's Stone, and that's more or less the end game. Or at least from what I've experienced so far, that seems like the end game for this one. And it's pretty cool because for the clients, you're always making the same kind of potions. And thank God there's like a recipe book where you save your recipes and you can just click a button and have your potion made for you in like a second. Because you do make a lot of potions in this game. It's the name of the game, for fact's sake, yeah. But this alchemy machine, you make combinations that are uncommon, like a potion that has 5 different effects, and some of them are kind of like contradictory, which you don't sell to the client because the client wants their secondary effects on the potion complement the first one. And once you fill like all the flask on the alchemy machine with the correct kind of potion, because you're giving a recipe, then you're able to make the alchemy frog of choice that you're trying to make, and press it to the next one, and you're giving a new recipe. So even though the main game loop is making potions and selling them to clients, the story is centered around trying to make these alchemy stones that eventually lead you to the big one, pretty much. So yeah, that's potion craft. So
it has seriously taken over your life, huh?
Yep. That was my tech talk. I'll be here every which day we're releasing this one? On Sunday? I'll be here every Sunday.
Christmas!
This
is technically the Christmas episode.
Oh man.
And finally, one more, and I'll let you guys continue talking. The last one is Escape Academy. It is
I played this one with Abatage. This is a good game.
Yeah, we played the introductory section with my boyfriend. I got potion sick, so we had to stop. And I have to say, especially that first part of the game was like being in an escape room, and that was pretty cool. That's all I have to say about it because we haven't got like very far in the game. Okay, Rick, why don't you take it away, please?
Yeah, sure thing. So most of the games I'm playing are going to sound familiar to people because it's broadly speaking the same set of games I was playing last time. I've not played a lot more of Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, but I have played a little bit more. I do still like it. I do still have my reservations about finishing it. I do still really want to finish it. I don't really know if I will. There's a lot of clunkiness around it. It reminds me a lot actually of when I played FF7 for the first time. Although to this game's credit, the combat is far more fluid and snappy than FF7's sort of polygon loading nightmare ever was. But it's outside of the battles in the menus and moving in the sort of 2D world where things really do get bogged down a little bit. So watch this space on that one, I guess. Played a little bit more of FF7 Remake. Still like it loads. Past couple of weeks, PS4 has been hard to just like carve time out to sit down in front of. So not a lot of progress there either, unfortunately. The game I've probably made the most progress with is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I am halfway through what I believe to be the last world on this game. I've played a few challenge levels. I've sort of sorted out a few secret bits and bobs. I think over the Christmas period, I'm possibly going to be playing the campaign co-op with my little brother. There's like some side. Did you ever dabble with these, Alex? The co-op missions?
No, I never did. Um,
The way it seems, having never played with them, is essentially instead of you controlling a team of 3, you split into 2 players. Each player controls 2 team members, and you have to try and coordinate everything you're doing in like a separate set of campaign missions that unlock with each world that you complete. So, looking forward to trying that one out. Everything positive I said about this game before still rings true. It is still excellently streamlined combat. It still takes the best bits of XCOM and makes its own thing out of them. Since I last spoke about it, I unlocked Rabbid Yoshi, who's one of the unlockable characters. He's been a blast to play. He's got like a little minigun and he throws grenades. And he's got an ability that makes people run out of cover, which it synergizes disgustingly well with the Overwatch abilities that Mario and Luigi have, especially if you put your points into those, because they become so overpowered, and you can pull them way more than really you have any right to. It's just a really good game. It's a really, really good game. Played a little bit more of Tokyo Jungle. I do have a feeling this might well be an Alex special of try it, don't beat it. I've enjoyed my time with it, but I don't know that it's particularly got many fresh ideas beyond what I've seen. I'd like to be proven wrong on that. It'd be a crying shame if I'm not, but that's where I feel on it at the moment. And then the last game I've playing, albeit I've only sort of played the opening, and this is a beautiful segue into Alex is currently playing because he's been playing it too. The current How Long to Beat the Game Winner's Game, Citizen Sleeper. What do you think of this one, Alex? How far have you got into it?
I'm not super far into it, but like so far I'm digging it. Like I've done like a cycle or two, I think, or so. Like I'm still quite early on. The style's really cool though. I like the kind of world that I've seen thus far. Very interesting. I'm excited for the I think investigations into like corporate culture gone mad. It's like a Blade Runner universe times 10 in terms of what can happen. But yeah, I dig it so far. I'm looking forward to spending a little more time with it. This is one of those games that I'm hoping to kind of cuddle up over the holiday break with my laptop and just kind of pound it out, because I don't think it's going to be a super long game. But yeah, I'm liking it so far.
Yeah, it looks like it's only like 5 or 6 hours for a full playthrough, at least if memory serves. Yeah, How Long to Beat for my like main plus rush time is saying 6:24, so around 5 or 6 hour mark. I do like that it's sort of dice rolls for your day. So for people who haven't seen this game, the concept is this: you are a sleeper, so someone who, if I'm understanding it right, signed away their consciousness to be put on machines to be harvested for resources, a little bit like the pods in the Matrix with the humans in them. You have escaped and found your way to a sort of floating city called the Eye, and you are trying to become a citizen there, hence the name Citizen Sleeper. However, you can no longer rely on corporate meds to keep your body alive. Your body is slowly dying. You have to find alternate means to make that move. And each day or cycle is dictated with you by your dice rolls. So you can pick activities to do, pick dice rolls with which to do them, and those dice rolls will predict the probability rather of a negative, successful, or very successful outcome. And I like that risk reward, the way it makes you really agonize, even at this early stage, over where you're going to expend your effort and how you're going to allocate yourself and your resources. The writing so far has been phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
I think I possibly didn't realize going in just how text heavy this game was going to be. It is very text heavy. Like on a scale of 1 to Disco Elysium, you're probably talking like an 8.5.
Yeah, it's really close, honestly. I was
But
playing
it's
and I was
good
like,
writing.
okay, yeah, I see you, Disco, in here.
And I have to say, I'm quite glad I didn't plump for the Switch version when it was on sale for exactly that reason, because I can't imagine that amount of dialogue is super fun to read on a little Switch screen. But the writing is really good. which is really important because that is what you're going to be spending most of your time consuming. All of that caveated with, I think, for both of us, still very early days on this one.
Yeah.
So that is it for me. Alex, you've got two more, unless you want to sort of say anything else about Citizen Sleep before you move on to them.
No, I don't think I have much more to say. I think the dice stuff's interesting too, but I'm sure I'll have more in the coming weeks. I'm looking forward to delving deeper. Yeah, I'm playing. So I've gotten a fair bit further in Persona 5 Strikers. Like I'm probably around the halfway point. Or well, actually, that might be saying a lot because I don't bus every single day, and that's where I play this game. I solely play it on the bus, and I'm basically in like the second of the like major areas. Put it that way. So, still really enjoying it. Combat's still really fun, genuinely challenging at points. Some of the boss fights you really do have to like strategize pretty decently, and your teammates are fairly intelligent as far as AI go. They don't pull off like they're pretty good about like playing the kind of roles that their characters are meant to sort of play. In terms of like an action RPG kind of grouping. While it is, like kind of an action game, it reminds me of the new Tales game a little bit. It's like, how like JRPGs are kind of they're pushing towards this semi like real-time action with still some pausing kind of combat systems like Final Fantasy VII, which to be fair, I think is a really smart move because it's super fucking fun. So I've really been enjoying that, and that's more what this combat system is, which is why I think it elevates it above some of those like Muso fighters and stuff. Because yes, you are fighting waves and waves of enemies, but there are very specific enemies within them that they make much bigger and just feel weightier when you're like hitting into them, that it does feel like you're actually fighting against a couple specific units while just mashing the rest of them. So that I think is what makes it really strong. And like the bosses are always much bigger. Sometimes you're only focused on them. So it's got a real sense of variety to it that I think is like really good. So interestingly enough, I think I'm like kind of enjoying this a little more than the original game. But that might just be because of my own sort of personal preferences. I think the original game is obviously far more ambitious in scope, which is fair. That's what that game is all about. And this one is a little more like dialed in. The investigation segments are still fucking stupid though. That I will say. It's not an investigation. They just ask you to walk around and you have to like find some people who are like chatting. It fucking sucks. It's very bad. Easily the worst part of the game. But yeah, that's Persona 5 Strikers. High recommend. Perfect to play on Switch if you're going around, though be warned, you will feel those loading times. They are long. And I can't really begrudge them. It looks really good on the Switch. So they've probably done some wizardry to make it, function so well on there, especially with the amount of enemies on the screen. I've never seen slowdown when there's tons of enemies. So they're doing something right. I'll bite the load times for whatever wizardry they pulled. Looking at you, Pokemon. But anyway, I also started playing Halo Infinite because I realized those bastards, they just totally axed the couch co-op. They said they were going to do it, and then like a few months ago, they were like, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I was waiting to play this with my partner because she loves the Halo games. So actually, we're probably going to play the Halo games all over again this Christmas break, because she was like, all I want to do over the Christmas break is play those Halo games with you. And I was like, really? Okay, sweet. Because she's like, watch me play it. But we might play Gears of War. We're going to see. I might convince her to do something new. But anyway, it's very fun. I don't know how to talk about Halo because one, I'm extremely biased on this, and two, does anyone fucking understand what's going on in the Halo games? Like, does anyone have any idea what the fucking plot is of the Halo games? Because and this is coming from someone who literally just played all of those games again within the last year and a half. I played them recently. I started this game and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Who's this one? Why do we give a shit about Cortana? What's going on? I just couldn't understand. I don't know if I've played the fifth one, though, actually, thinking about it. I'm not sure if I have. I know I played the fourth, but the fifth, I don't think I had couch co-op. So that thus I did not play it because I was playing with my partner, and I'm like, well, we don't have 2 fucking Xboxes. Like, some people still do play at home. So anyway, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It makes no sense. I don't understand any of it. It's really fun though. The combat is amazing. The open world design that they've done is like they've married the best of both worlds, where it's still like kind of traditional Halo missions, but you can just fuck off and go do a lot of stuff and like zip around with your grappling hook. It's a smart way of doing it. Honestly, my only real complaint with the game is that I don't think they went far enough with this. And the like missions type stuff where you have to go into the fucking alien ships are easily the worst part of the game and the most boring part of the game. But I feel like they always have been in Halo games, and that's just something like, for me personally, I really love when you're in a Halo game and you have the big open map and you're just trying to get across and figure out the best way of doing that. That's always been Halo at its best to me, not the cramped corridors. But I also understand that the cramped corridors is like a part of Halo. That's just like how it is. But anyway, I'm really, really digging it. It's challenging, honestly. Like, it is one of those games where the enemy, they will hit you. And I'm playing on normal, and they have good aim. It's not one of those ones where you're like, everyone's missing. It's like, no, they have decent tactics, not great, but they will put like give you a challenge, especially as you're starting the game and getting back into the kind of hang of Halo, because Halo is a really different shooter, right? Like with the shield systems and stuff, which I know games kind of, anyway, it's just different. So yeah, I'm liking it. I've been doing a bunch of, running off, looking around the map to get special stuff and upgrade, because you can like upgrade your equipment and whatnot, because you get a bunch of different types of equipment. You have like a thruster, you have your grappling hook, of course, which I gotta say, fuck yeah, man, whoever designed that fucking grappling hook deserves a raise, because that shit is excellent. Like, it connects so beautifully and like has such like, because if you hit a guy with it, you'll pull yourself towards that dude and you get an upgrade that shocks them while you're doing it. So it just launches you toward them and you can just punch them as you come in. And it is fucking excellent. It feels so good. You just zoom it all over the place. So yeah, it's Halo Infinite. I highly recommend it. I'm playing it on an Xbox. I'm sure it would be better on PC, but I gotta be honest with you, Halo, I've never felt like was the pinpoint shooter, like headshots matter, but it's never been a game about like, you got to get right on the head there. Like, it's more about the moving around and playing around. And it wouldn't feel right to me not to play it on my TV. It's Halo. I got it. Okay. Well, let's move on now. You all can't see this, but it's very late for poor Rick, and he's holding on as well as he can.
I'm also running on 2 hours sleep, which is partially my own fault. So I'm doing my bestest.
Well, let's move along then to our topic for this week, which is our 2023 goals and a reflection of 2022 and how that went. And I did something. I went and I listened back to our old episode, and I kind of wrote down all of what we wanted to have happen this year. And I actually think decently across the board, I think we did actually do a fair number of the things that we wanted to. I mean, I know on my end, I did everything I wanted. So I was my big thing was I had the new laptop coming, so I knew I wanted to PC game like crazy. The Oculus Quest 2 was coming. I wanted to play Half-Life Alyx and RE4, and then I wanted to dive into PC Game Pass and hit up some of the games that I've missed. And so going back to it, I was like, yeah, I did all those things. I played a shit ton of PC games this year. Still continually doing it. I think every week I've had some kind of PC game to talk about. Went real hard on PC gaming earlier in the year too, and when I was stuck in other because I had so much traveling this year, it was like the perfect year because I had to go live with Susie in other places, and so having that PC, my God, was that thing a godsend. One thing is I still haven't beat Half-Life Alyx. I'm still playing it. Like I haven't beaten it yet though. I don't know why. I play like an hour or so of it at a time, and then it's very easy to jump back into though. So I think I'm just kind of like letting myself slowly enjoy it because it's very good. I did beat RE4 though, and it was a chef's kiss beauty. So good. It was so good. It's that I will never play like the old RE4. That's the only way I'm playing it. When the remake comes out, yeah, for sure I'll be playing that shit. But nah, man, easily the best way to play RE4. Yeah. So anyway, I accomplished my, I would say, fairly modest goals of playing games on PC and my Quest. But which one of you wants to jump in and talk about what your dreams were for 2020?
I'll jump in because actually, when you've made a note of the things that I wanted to do this year, you missed off a lol at the end because I've been pretty pathetic at getting most of them. So
Fair.
there's a few I've had some like mild success with. So I did play a little bit of Ham Ham Heartbreak before I retired it.
But you played it, so that counts.
I did. I played 7 Game Pass games. So taking advantage of the free Game Pass that I've currently got has absolutely been a thing that's happened. And I have actually cleared a bunch of the Steam games off my desktop, albeit most of those have then been replaced by other ones, which sort of defeats the object. But there has been progress made on that front. In terms of what I didn't do, I didn't play a lick of Disco Elysium. Didn't play A Link Between Worlds. Didn't play Fire Emblem Awakening. And do you know what? The Switch has been a big part of this because this time last year, I'd been told, yeah, you're going to borrow the Switch to play Astral Chain, and if you're quick, box boy and box girl. And then a couple months passed by. I've played those games, and the friend who lent me the Switch said, "I kind of forgot you had that. Do you want to give me 80 quid and we'll just say it's yours?"
Nice.
Thus, I ended up with a Switch, and
Pretty good deal.
my girlfriend and I have got my girlfriend and I have gone splits on an OLED. So we have also got Ring Fit and Mario Kart and the whole setup. Also, for me specifically, my employer has a like a bonus structure that allows you to redeem points for, among other things, Nintendo eShop points. So, oh my god, have I thrown way too much money Nintendo's way, and I've got way too many physical and digital games. The Switch has kind of taken over my 2022. It's the single biggest console for completions this year, single biggest platform behind PC, and I've got loads and loads of games to play well beyond what I've already started playing, which is a little bit terrifying. By contrast, so that's buying as little as possible, kind of blown. Although the most recent Steam sale, I didn't buy a single game, which is
proud of you.
God, the first time that's happened in like 4 years. Anyway, by contrast, one of my big targets for 2022 was to play more PS3 and Wii games. I played 2 Wii games. One of those being Link's Crossbow Training, and the other being the Castlevania Rebirth game on an emulator, not even on actual Wii hardware. I played a few PS3 games, so I'm going to sort of call that a success.
I mean, hey, you played a few, so yeah, I think it counts.
I played a few, yeah. Are we bundling what we want to do next year into this?
I thought we'd do that after, maybe. But...
Yes, I was going to say. I feel like if you did, you just said, "I want to do more of the same." That's why I was struggling to remember what you'd said. Yeah. That's fine.
I did.
In which case, let's more or less leave it there. So I think I've covered all of the bases there. What were your expectations for 2022, Paula?
Well, first of all, I said, hey, I have 240 games in my backlog. I want it to be like 230 or less by the end of the year.
And how did we do?
As my backlog currently sits, it is 236 games. So, less.
It's progress. Not a lot more, though. So, that's not bad.
Yeah, like, I think it's not the first year in a while, but that where the total game count is less at the end of the year than at the start of the year. But it's still progress, I think.
I'd say so.
The other one says, I finished Genealogy of the Holy War, Trajan, Blazing Blade. Anything else I assume Fire Emblem is
Yeah.
bonus. I did play a lot of Fire Emblem.
You did.
4 games that, well, technically 2, one divided on 3 because Fates. And Awakening. I played all of those, but I didn't finish Genealogy of the Holy War. I haven't touched Thracia, and I think I got 2 extras campaign on Blazing Blade.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah.
So kind of.
Kind of.
I mean,
I did
you
play
totally
Fire
completed
Emblem.
the objective you didn't set for yourself.
You kind of completed it in a themey way, but not in a real way.
Yeah. The other one was use the GBA more. The word GBA has been the last couple of months just collecting dust. The only games that I played has been Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Emblem Blazing Blade. So,
which is
there
funny
you go.
because last year the only thing you had played was a Pokemon game as well on the GBA.
Yep. It says I want to play all the gift I got for Christmas and throughout the year. And yeah, no, I didn't get to all the gifts I got for Christmas. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Keep up with automated releases. Whack, whack. I actually did keep up like at the start of the year with the automated releases, but at some point I was kind of broke and I couldn't even like get the game. And in the cases that I got the game, I haven't played the game. Like Fury 1926, I've been wanting to play that game, but since I haven't seen my Otoma friend, I can't start the game because I told her I will wait for her to have the game first. And I have her game. So there you go. So that was an utter failure. I want to get into Dark Souls this year. I got into Dark Souls. I only defeated the first boss of the first game.
But
But
again, progress.
And the final one, I won't buy any more Japanese imports unless it is multi-language or a super steep discount. I haven't imported any games from Japan. I have imported manga from Japan, but this isn't the thing we're talking about here. This is a gaming podcast, not a manga podcast. So I call that success. So that would be it for me.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, we had pretty mixed. I didn't set myself a ton of expectations last year, which I think helps. That's the trick. Don't expect too much from yourself, and then you're good.
Don't shoot for the moon and fall among the stars. Shoot for like the grassy knoll nearby and like land it
president.
perfectly.
Yeah.
The
grassy knoll. I was gonna say. All right, so
fair.
You teed it up because you landed it perfectly. So anyway, let's keep going here. Enough JFK jokes. It's been a long time.
This wasn't supposed to be this spicy.
So
too soon. It's still raw, Alex.
It's still raw. Exactly, so raw. Let's talk about our expectations for this coming year. Because when I think about like what I want for this year, I want to play through all the Playdate games once you get your Playdate. That's a big one.
Soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be soon, actually, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I'm like bang in the middle of like the 30 to 40,000 window. So hopefully in the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, it's coming my way.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I really want to play through them because like I was enjoying it for the most part. And then I just stopped because I was like, you know what? I think half the enjoyment of this is getting to talk about the games. So I was like, I'm just going to wait until Rick's got it because then we could just actually chat. And then I feel more motivated to actually play them. Because I was really enjoying my Playdate when I got it earlier this year. I just haven't touched it in a long time because I'm just waiting, which is also fine because there's no rush.
Nope.
I waited a long time for the Playdate in general. It's all good. I also think, like, I was trying to think to myself, like, I do think one goal I have that I would like to kind of hit through here is like I want to get back into some of my other handhelds again. Like, there's a bunch of DS and 3DS games that I really want to play. And I did pretty good this year. Like I played a fair number, but I really want to like hit into that more. Especially because my gaming time has been sort of like not like shrunk or anything, but it's just I've been enjoying painting a lot. So with my wargaming and stuff, I'm you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I want to use my time as efficiently as humanly possible. And I still want to play one Game Pass game a month, though, which I definitely did this year. I played more than that, I think. But it just makes it feel like you're getting your money's worth, even though it's been
Money's worth. Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I have. I don't have very exciting goals for this year because there's actually not many like big gaming white whales for me at this point. Like Yakuza was a big one, and I'm basically through Yakuza, and I'm kind of on my way to beating all of the Yakuza games. So maybe that's the other goal: finish the other 4 that I've missed this year before playing the new ones. What about you two?
So, I mean, a lot of my goals are very similar to last year's goals. One, because they were good goals, and 2, because I didn't really achieve them. So, still want to keep picking away at PC games. Clear what's on my hard drive, well, on my SSD. Clear the desktop sort of lists of shortcuts of games that I'm meant to play immediately and then soon and then eventually. I want to play handhelds that aren't Switch. Like you, I've got lots of DS and 3DS and PSP and Vita and GBA games that are absolutely ones I want to get round to. And I need to be maybe a little bit more ruthless about making the time for that to happen. I like what you're doing, Paula, with trying to get a net negative of games. So I think in terms of where I'm at, I'm probably going to aim to buy less games than I complete in 2023. And then in terms of a couple of other wild cards, pretty sure my PS3's got a dodgy disk drive. So sort of 1-2 combo on that one of making playing my PS3 games a bit more of a priority, but also potentially a little hardware project, get a new disk drive and swap that out if it comes to that. And then finally, because there's some bloody great games on there and people don't necessarily touch on it, I would like to make more of an effort to explore Netflix's gaming library.
Yeah, they've been doing some shit, huh?
They have, and the first one that jumps out at me, and this is one I'm going to start with in January, it kind of stealth released in September, and I'd seen some press coverage of preview stuff, but nothing since it actually launched. A game called Desta by Us2 Games, the makers of the Monument Valley games. It's like a spirit dodgeball sort of thing that's the arena for your character to like confront their past traumas and demons and things that they're holding on to in their mentality, things they wish they'd done differently in their past. Seems really cool, kind of interesting that it's set in a very specific region in the UK, and that's something that they've kind of tried to build into the world of the game. There's various other sort of big games that are worth experiencing there, and I might not have touched otherwise. So Before Your Eyes, that's one that people always bang on about. Spiritfarer, Into the Breach. They've got Exploding Kittens, the board game, as a Netflix app, which I've never played the board game, but it's a good excuse to give it a try.
It's like a little card game.
Yeah, so obviously Netflix are pouring a lot of money into this, and I would like to make more of an effort to try and engage with what they're putting out, and see if any of it's any good this coming year. Yeah, I suppose that's me. Particular focus is obviously handhelds other than Switch, legacy stuff, and just clearing out PC games generally. Yeah, what about you, Paula?
Well, first of all, Tears of the Kingdom is coming out on May 12th. I
So
want to
one
say,
goal
I
for this year: play games before May 12th.
Yeah, let's go with that. I want to play some Zelda games like from in chronological order, like order of release. So right now I'm at Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, on the second path. I want to see if I can get the release to the 3D games on before May 12th. which is gonna be an ordeal, but I'm gonna try it regardless. I think after Zelda 2, I'm gonna go with A Link to the Past, and then I'm gonna go with Link's Awakening, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Up until then, I think I could be a head camper, but I still want to get to some of the games that I haven't even doubled on yet, like the Oracle games, the Minish Cup. But let's see how far I can get.
Definitely play Minish Cap. That's a classic.
And a saga that I want to play that I wanted to start this year, but there has been a little issue with the latest release of the science adventure games, where the Chaos Head Noah, which is the first game is technically the first game of science adventures, has released at this point in time, but the localization is kind of busted, and it has like some game-breaking bugs, and 7 alone on the true ending of the game, which Paula doesn't like. So I am waiting for the patch from the Committee of Zero. They're trying to fix the Steam version, and right now they are finishing up the patch. So I will wait for that one and then start the Science Adventure series. So that would be in order of release: Chaos Head, Saints Gate, Robotic Notes. I want to say Saints Gate 0, or no, Chaos Child, Saints Gate 0, and Robotic Notes Touch. And then the other Saints Gate games that are Phenogram of something about the Phenogram. Let me check real quick because I forgot the name of the game. Oh no, I'm such a bad fan. Oh, never mind. Not gonna look for it right now. But I'm gonna call them like the Saints Gate more fan Discord fan content for that is currently available on Steam. And also, I want to get my backlog to 225 games or less. And right now, I have 39 ongoing games. And
beg your pardon?
Yeah, like I have 39 games that I started, plan to finish, but I haven't finished. So I want to try to like close some of those, like finish some of those before starting like another 30 or so games and not finish them. One of the games that I really want to finish, and I think if I'm going to finish like one game during the year, which I'm going to finish more games, but if I had to finish one game during the year, that's going to be Dark Souls, the original one for PC. So let's see if at the end of the year, Dark Souls has left my backlog one way or another. I think those are my goals. Like, besides just trying to finish the games that I've started and just play some games and hopefully have more completions this year, I don't have any other goals.
I have got one more I do want to throw into the ring. And I'm kicking myself that I didn't think of this when we were talking about it initially. So at the moment, I have like 5 series playthroughs that are ongoing. 3 of those are ones that conceivably shouldn't take massive amounts of time to finish. Specifically, those are the Mana series. I've only got like the PS1 and forward of those left to play. So 5 of those, and that's it. Metal Slug, where I've got 6, 7, the mobile spin-offs and tactics to play, and the treasure games. There's a fair few of them, but they're all, not massive undertakings. So I'd like to try and finish all 3 of those in 2023, and I would like to make some headway. Play at least one of the games in the other 2. Specifically, they are Etrian Odyssey and Shin Megami Tensei. And Shin Megami Tensei specifically of the ones that I presently own. It's not like every Shin Megami Tensei game that's ever existed.
I was gonna say fuck.
No, I'm
because those are a lot of games.
I'm being realistic with that one. But I do want to dabble in a couple of the old ones on that. I mean, in terms of what's coming up there, Persona Q is kind of the next up on both of those lists. And then I bloody well need to get back to Persona 5 Royal. And then I've got 4 Apocalypse, Persona, Shin Megami Tensei 5 should be in there somewhere, Persona Q2, Synchronicity, which was like the browser game that they made for a while there, Jack Bros on the Virtual Boy. It's not all of them, but it's like all of the ones that are of interest to me, shall we say. So that's my last addendum onto mine. Have either of you guys got anything you want to add on to your aims for next year, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I could always talk about, like, I want to beat those Majora's Masks and all those games that I keep saying I'm going to beat and never do, but I've given up on that. I know it's not happening. So I'm not even going to pretend.
Oh, dear.
Well then, shall
in that
we
case,
move along to... How Long to Beat the Game. I believe it is my turn, because I think, Rick, you did it last time, didn't you?
I did. I can't remember whether we were like going up and then switching up and then switching up, or whether we were going down and then switching down. I mean, as long as we all do the same amount of hostings, it's fine.
Yeah, I can do this one. No worries.
Who did 97? Because that would be the indicator. 97 was Paula. So
yeah, so this makes sense.
Yes, you are right. It is you. Yeah, it is you. That's right.
Okay, then. Rev your engines. And
vroom, vroom.
No, we actually did that one before. Okay. What do we have here? Okay, interesting. I've never heard of this. We have a game called Everything from 2017. An interactive experience where everything you see is a thing you can be, from animals to planets to galaxies and beyond.
This was like a proper YouTuber bait game. I know nothing about it besides that fact. Shit. Oh, okay.
You're going to have to tell me how long this game is, as well as... as well as what you think the rating is on How Long to Beat to the closest like point. So like not just like, yeah, just give me the rating out of 100.
Is it like out of 100? Okay. Right, my scores are in.
Okay, you got all of them in already. Not bad.
It's more or less guesswork, to be fair.
I wasn't quite listening. What was for this question? The rating?
Yeah, what's the rating on How Long to Beat?
Okay, so that's all we.
Only time will tell.
I should look for some gameplay on YouTube. I mean, all my scores are in now, so it's much of a muchness. But
yeah, actually, look it up because I have no idea what this game is. The description didn't really help me much.
I'm not gonna say what's in my head purely because I don't want to give Paula any hint.
You sure?
I'm sure. I thought about it, but no.
Gave it a good consider.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully there's a movie called Everything from 2017 as well. So Everything Game 2017.
There you go.
Okay, we've got them. As I'm
I
trying.
sent it to Alex, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you better hope you sent it to me. Alrighty, so here we go. It is time for the times.
The results.
Paula has said 3 hours and 30 minutes. Rick has said 3 hours. It is in fact 3 hours and nothing more. So that is a point to Rick.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
Sorry,
the-
I hit the mic there. I didn't mean to do that.
Sure. I don't know why I'd be suspicious, but why'd you hit the mic? Okay, so
It was my plan all along.
main plus. Rick has said 4 hours. Paula has also said 4 hours, so you both get a point. It's 5.5 hours.
Okay.
So unclimactic. Paula has said 100% is 7 hours. Rick has said 100% is 8 hours. It is actually 15.5 hours.
What?
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty
How?
pretty long.
Okay.
I don't know. It has far less than the others times submitted, but I guess you could be a lot of things in this game, so maybe that's how they're counting it. I don't know.
You can be everything in this game.
It's true. The last one here. This is the rating. Rick has said 69%, and Paula has said
Nice.
70%.
Oh.
Yeah, the rating is in fact 69%.
No.
Yeah.
I was about to be cheeky and
That's
put
why you picked it.
69%.
All right.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's the standings for this week. It's currently Rick with 11, me with 7, Paula with 4. Could all change next week, though. You just never know.
What to play for?
Exactly. That's it for this week, and really for this year of How Long to Beat podcast. Because, well, actually, yeah, I know. Probably the next episode will release in the new year. Maybe it'll release the day before. Who knows? Either way, it's almost the end.
You'll probably be listening to it in 2023.
That is very accurate.
Yeah.
Well, good night, everybody.
Merry New Year and a happy Christmas.
Yes, happy Christmas.
Bye.